Today's show, and I have with me my guest, Bridget Burge, and Bridget has a very busy schedule, but I appreciate, Bridget, you being here with us, and I know what y'all do in Baker is certainly important to us, and we just want to talk about your business in Baker. How long? When was the business established?
We started our business in 1990.
And I've seen the business in the last 8 years since I've been mayor to grow. And you want to tell us some of the things that y'all have done in the last 8 years?
Well, we have recently built a new second shop down on Groom Road, and it's a 5,000 square foot shop on 5 acres of land. So we have expanded, and our other shop we had built in 1997. It's our original shop where our office is run.
Right. And they don't just you don't just operate in Baker. You have a large area of clients, and you want to tell us some of the areas. And I know it's important to me to see small business not only in Baker, but to be able to grow as y'all have grown. And I know y'all have done a tremendous job. As far as growth, and Bridget mentioned the fact that they have a second office down on, a second facility down on Groom Road, and I've seen that grow over the years, and I see your husband just about every day at the Baker Texaco station buying fuel. So it helps our economy, it helps our town. So you want to just tell us about some of the areas y'all serve?
Well, we start in Zachary. That's the furthest north we go, and we go all the way down to the New Orleans area, and this furthest east we go is Slidell. So we're in all of those parishes for sweeping and pavement maintenance. We service all of those areas.
Right. And I like y'all's slogan, Bridget. It's we're sweeping while you're sleeping. So that's great, and I know y'all do a lot of parking lots in a lot of different malls and facilities. I know that that y'all are looking at future expansions, and can you comment on some of those things that you're looking at as far as your fleet of natural gas?
Well, we currently have a fleet of 23 sweepers and a total fleet of about 40 trucks in the whole fleet total. And we're always looking to buy new equipment. Warren's in the process of looking to buy new equipment now, but we also want to look into the CNG, the compressed natural gas, just to, for environmental purposes and fuel cost savings. So it's something we're gearing towards, but it'll take a while to transfer everything over to that.
We see the fuel costs going up and down, and certainly affects your bottom line, your profits, when you see fuel get as far as high as almost $4 a gallon, and we've seen it fall back some now, but it's not something that you can plan for. I know as a city, we budget a certain amount for fuel. And in the last couple of years, we've exceeded that tremendously because of the amount of vehicles we have and the amount of particularly with the police force. We've seen those fuel costs rise extremely, almost double in the last 4 years. Where we were paying about $12,000 a month for fuel, we've gone up to somewhere around $22,000, $24,000. So I know it does affect you. Do y'all have any thoughts of maybe any other future growth that you may be doing in the city?
Well, our staff is always increasing. You know, right now we're at about 25, but at some points in time during the summer we go up to 40 employees. So we always try to hire people from the Baker area.
Yeah.
And as far as the building facilities, we have 2 fine facilities, and
Right.
I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Right.
But we
And
use businesses in Baker and try to keep our business in Baker.
And you know, people don't realize what it means to provide jobs. When you when you put somebody, you give them a job, it creates other jobs because you're paying a salary. They go to the grocery store, they're buying goods. It's employees in the grocery. It increases the number of employees at the grocery store or any store that has to have. We used to have a factor that we used that when I was with ExxonMobil. One job was creates about 7 more jobs. So I know from an economic standpoint that is important. And I can tell you, Bridget, I really appreciate y'all being in Baker. I appreciate everything that y'all do. And you know, as the mayor, I'm there to support not only your business, because this is what it's all about. I mean, you've got the big box stores, but you got little businesses, and y'all are not a little business anymore. Y'all have grown. Yeah. You know, mid-sized business, I guess business you want to say, and we've seen growth and development over the last 8 years. And you have anything else you'd like to say about the business? I know we put the number up there, so and you did talk about some of the other things that you were doing, but they want to talk about the asphalt and a little more on the asphalt and the concrete, because people may not be aware that if they have a driveway problem, y'all can take care of it.
Yeah, when we started our business, we were a sweeping company, but we have moved into the pavement maintenance where we do anything dealing with pavement maintenance. We do not pave, but we do pavement maintenance. We stripe parking lots and anything you may need in the pavement maintenance field, we do. But we are primarily a sweeping company.
Well, that's great. And Burgess, I appreciate you and certainly appreciate you being on the show today. And I know you have a busy schedule. It's the holidays, and James Gyro owes you a lot of gratitude for taking his spot. So I appreciate you being here, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
"2012 is an exciting year in broadcasting. WLFT has been bringing you the best in religious and family programming for over 10 years. Your new digital television allows you to do a lot more, including gaming, internet, and there's over 20 free TV stations you can now pick up over the air. Soon there'll be over 30 channels here in Baton Rouge, so mark the first of each calendar month to rescan your TV. Lots of free entertainment. Rescan Baton Rouge.
Welcome back to Baker Forward. As my next guest is Gene Byers, and thank you for coming, Gene. Appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Mayor.
And Gene, I know you've been with the museum. Can you tell us how long you've been the director over at the museum, and how, you know, what you've seen happen over the past years that you've been there?
Well, we started the museum actually as a volunteer effort in 1974, and the city took it over about 1975 as a bicentennial project, and I was hired in 1977, and I've worked there ever since. And being a bicentennial project, we were able to get some grants to restore an old building right in the middle of town. We actually used an old electric company building for a while until we could move into the big building on Main Street, and highly visible. It's the only one with a red caboose in the front yard.
Right. Gene, you want to kind of give us some history about the building, because I've heard some exciting things, and it's just amazing. In fact, I'm going to let you kind of tell us the history of the building, and I'm going to make some comments about that when you finish your comments.
Okay. Actually, a lot of people think that building was moved there from someplace else. People that maybe moved into the Baker area about the 1960 period of time. It was lived in until almost 1960, and then it became a company, an electrical company, and it had just a ton of camellia trees all around the house, and you could barely see the house. You could almost just think it was a shed. So people didn't realize it had been there since actually 1905 when it was built. And that's an educated guess, because Dr. Willard Cushman was recruited from New Orleans to come and be a doctor in Baker, and when he got there, he bought property, and when he purchased the property, it was 1904. By 1906, he had a mortgage on the property that reflected the approximate price of the house,
Right.
and which was around $840.
Can you imagine buying a house for $840? And the reason, I ask you that question is because, there's not real good evidence, but there is some indication that this was a Sears and Roebuck home. And I've seen some of the Sears. I have a Sears and Roebuck catalog that my grandfather had from 1912, and I'd like to go back to purchasing some of that stuff.
I know, wouldn't you?
In that catalog, because it was amazing what you could buy.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the?
We actually had several professors come out, just a committee of professors come out from LSU Architecture Department to talk to us about the house, and they characterized it as a Victorian era home with classic motif, and they said that it probably was a kid house. Kid houses were built routinely along railroad tracks, because they'd bring bundles of boards and kegs of nails and packages of window panes and just drop them off at the site or near the site. They didn't even leave it at the depot. They actually dropped it off at the site where it was going to be built. And it's right there. There was no road between the railroad track and the house. That was a front lawn that just kind of sloped down to the railroad track. It had a barn in the back of it, built about 1905. It is a very small house. When you get inside, it was only 2 bedrooms.
Right.
And they never did complete the upstairs of the house. You would think there was a good roomy second story up there. And it does have a floor in it now, and it's storage for us. And because there was only one staircase to get to the upstairs, we couldn't use it for exhibit space, so it's not open to the public. But it was a 2-bedroom house with the dining room, little bitty living room. People didn't have time to sit down in the living room. There was no television to watch, and so that was not an important place to be.
Can you tell us about some of the visitors you have, and how you market the house, and some of the I guess, visits from the schools?
Well, a lot of nonprofit organizations will come and have small meetings there at the museum, because we can host up to about 25 or 30 people in a small gathering, where there's sit down. If it's a stand up kind of come and go activity, we have clearance for about 50 people at a time at the museum. It's smaller than it looks. We have a lot of tours, student classroom tours, and in recent years we haven't had quite as many tours as we once did, because of the cost of gasoline and the cost of buses and the labor to keep the bus drivers and an assistant to bring the kids to the museum. So we have devised a way to keep the kids in touch with the museum. We have 10 box exhibits that we routinely take around to the schools in the area, and they are on all kinds of subjects. One of them is a money box, and we have examples of currencies from all around the world. And that box is the only one that requires a deposit, because it carries money in it. So if we have to replace money as it gets older or handle more, or if we have to replace the money, it costs us to do that. The rest of them are free and absolutely available. We bring them to your classroom. You can keep them for up to 2 weeks. You can put them in your library. You can take them to small meetings. The ballot box is extremely important in the month of January and February. January, a lot around Martin Luther King's birthday, and February during Black History Month.
Yeah. And I notice if you go out to the barn, I mean, I get excited when I go out there. I was raised on a farm, raised by my grandparents, and you know, I got to see a lot of the old tools that they had. You know, we had mules. I can remember plowing a mule when I was in high school. But there's a lot of things out there that a lot of young folks don't know about. I mean, it's amazing. Y'all have the forge out there where you can actually do blacksmith work.
Yes,
Can you tell us about some of that?
Well, and you know, Mayor, I was lucky to be raised on a farm as well, at least until I was about 13 years old. And you do kind of grow up faster on a farm. You learn a lot of stuff. School is not all in the classroom when you live on a farm as a child. And the barn is a really fun place to go. And all of that has been given to us through the years. And the reality of a small museum is that you can tell how well supported it is by the number of objects
That's
there.
right.
And we've got beautiful examples of objects at the barn. Best day on a farm for a kid is the day the baby
That's
chicks
right.
arrive.
That's right.
So,
And I know that we talked about the house being a Sears and Roebuck house, but it's also, you could get baby chicks in the mail. And
Yes.
Jean, I appreciate you being here, and you know, I mean, I think you've done a wonderful job over the years, and we certainly appreciate you being here with me today. Thank you so much for coming, and we're just looking forward to your work and things that you've done in the museum.
thank you very much, and I invite volunteers to come and work with us.
Thank you.
Promoting your business in these competitive times can be tough. You need to use everything possible to stand out in the crowd. Your vehicle is an asset most companies overlook when advertising. Now you can promote just like major companies by wrapping your vehicle with eye-catching graphics. Frogskin Graphics wraps boats, cars, trucks, and buildings. No job too large or small. Full-color banners, window graphics, and signs designed, printed, and installed by professionals. 683-9595.
Welcome back to Baker Forward. I still have as my guest Jean Byers, and she, you know, the museum director, and certainly has a lot of buildings and things in the city. But what I want to talk about is the tornado that hit our city on December the 10th. And this happened about 6:50 in the morning. And as I was on my way to work, I could see the roofs of the car wash on Highway 19 being blown away. And let me tell you, it's my first visual of a tornado. And I'm not going to tell you I'm a hero, because I was scared. I did not know where it was headed. I immediately called my wife and told her we have a tornado, and she in turn alerted a lot of the neighbors to let them know. This is something that takes place I mean, it happens almost instant. And Jean, have you ever experienced
No, but
effects
I've
of a tornado?
every time I hear a strong wind is coming our way, and I have a tin roof, and a tin roof really sheds a lot of noise, and it's a scary thought, a tornado, and they say it's the sound of a freight train, and I'm just equally afraid of trains. So.
Well, I don't blame you. You know, I know you've assessed your damage over at the museum. Did you have any damage as a result?
Only small things, just trash can, a little fenced-in area was damaged a little bit, but nothing important. That's the nature apparently of a tornado. It can tear up a building right next door to you and not touch another building.
Right.
So.
And I know that you know, we declared, as the mayor, I declared a state of emergency that morning. We went out and we started accessing some of the damage. So we're going to show you some of the damage that occurred during as a result of the tornado. You can see there are trees down. roofs was torn off buildings. So we had, I think, it was about 150 reported damages in the city. About, I think, 87 of them was direct results of the roofs damage to buildings and stuff. Once we accessed the damage, we had we opened our emergency operations center, and the emergency operations center consisted of all department heads and also the council person. So we had everybody there. We were all on the same page, trying to assess. Council people were out looking at their areas and assessing the damage in the areas and reporting them in. We also had two of our local officials there, Representative Dalton Honoré and newly elected Shauna Daniel Banks. So we appreciate them coming out and helping us to see what our needs was as a city and to try to help us recover. A lot of damage on South Magnolia. The tornado diagonally hit Baker from the northwest, from the southwest corner of the city all the way to the northeast corner. So that's almost diagonally passed through the city, done considerable amount of damage. Not only over on South Magnolia, Cypress, Buffwood, in those areas, and also on Groom Road by the Baton Rouge Industries. A lot of damage was done over there. So, once we assess the damages in Public Works, I want to commend them and thank them. I know, Gene, you've worked with them, so.
I've worked with the city for a long time, since 1977, and through the years, one thing about Baker is that's so admirable to me is how the employees of the city pull together no matter what department you're in. If you need somebody to help man phones in an area, you pull people from any department that's necessary, and we have all been available throughout the years to help. And we have just an outstanding
group.
Emergency operations
that's right.
Facility. It's just a beautiful facility.
Yeah, the Public Works people were out actually at 7:30 cutting trees and removing trees from the streets. I want to thank them. Julie McCullough does a great job. The fire department did an outstanding job. They were out putting tarps on roofs for the elderly and trying to help people keep water out of their homes. And also fire department was distributing cleaning supplies. The police department, we did declare a walking curfew that night, and to make sure that we didn't have people just walking around the streets, and because a lot of the power was off. We did. I want to commend Energy for their response and restoring electricity. I mean, have you ever seen electric come back on that quick?
No, I haven't. It's we've all experienced these hurricanes recently, and they came really quickly.
Yeah, they got out there and they responded real quick and was able to get electric and restore electricity, and all electric was on by 7 o'clock that night. So we want to thank them and everybody that worked so hard to get this done. And we're in the process of cleaning it up now, so we ask all the citizens, just be patient with us. We're going to get the debris picked up. And I know we're starting a new year, and I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. And we're just looking forward to a good year and a bright future for our city.